You've made that point in other in your essays, etc., that this whole, in a sense, the West having lost control of the world, the crisis of leadership in the West, and how the global South and the whole shift of power is really what's going to define geopolitics, not just now, but in the decades and century to come. You, of course, have written extensively on the Asian century. Many observers have said that this could be the Indian century. Tell us why you think the West is in a crisis of, say, leadership, geopolitical strategy, and why you think there's been this shift of balance of power.
Well, the West clearly has got to accept that its capacity to dominate the world in the way that it could in the past is over. I mean, it's hard to believe this, right, Sonia? 100 years ago, in the year 1924, 100,000 Englishmen could rule over 300 million of our ancestors, the Indians. And I find that quite amazing. 100,000 Englishmen ruling 300 million Indians? How is that possible? But it happened. It was real. The West was just so incredibly powerful. But the world has come full circle now. And the West now represents 12% of the world's population. The rest make up 88%. And I already illustrated by comparing Europe's GNP with China's GNP. The relative share of the GNP of the Western countries is going down. Let me give you another comparison. Okay, in the year 2000, roughly around then, the combined GNP of the G7 countries, representing the West, was 2.5 times bigger than the BRICS countries in PPP terms. Now G7 is smaller than BRICS. See, that's how times have changed. And
Absolutely.
So the intelligent thing for the West to do is to adapt intelligently and thoughtfully. And I must emphasize here, I don't speak here as an enemy of the West. I speak here as a friend of the West, trying to persuade both the Europe and United States that it would be wiser for them to share power, to share control of international institutions with the countries of the global South. And, for example, why do we have this absurd rule that says that to become the head of the IMF, you must be a European. To become the head of the World Bank, you must be an American citizen. Why not allow Asians to run these institutions? Because the fastest growing economies in the world are not European, not American, but Asian economies. So these are examples of how we must adapt to the 21st century. And the 21st century, I want to emphasize, will be the Asian century, because it will be the rise of not just China and India, but other Asian powers too. And one small point I'd like to make here is that Indians should pay special attention to Southeast Asia, to the 10 ASEAN countries. Because, 9 out of the 10 Southeast Asian countries have an Indic base in their culture. For 2,000 years, India has been very close to Southeast Asia. And Southeast Asia is emerging as a major growth pole in the world also. And I'll just give you one more statistic that I think every Indian should be aware of.